You've done a great job, and you've shown today that you've got a grasp of what's going on over in China, and I appreciate that. It's a tough job. You know, I knew Sandy Rand pretty well and was over there with him a number of times, and who was kind of a China expert. And I know you're going into this with your eyes wide open, but despite your relationship with President Xi going back to his days as, you know, head of a livestock association, they're tough negotiators. And, you know, when I was U.S. Trade Representative, I had the opportunity to negotiate them quite a bit. And, you know, we do have a better relationship now at the presidential level, I believe, than we've had in a long time. But we've got so many issues. I was over there on a congressional delegation a couple weeks ago and had the opportunity to meet with Premier Lee as well as Chairman of the National People's Congress, Zhang, and talked about the issues that have been raised today, including North Korea, including the South China Sea, including the level playing field on trade, IP, intellectual property issues, as well as their overcapacity and their dumping in the United States. We also talked about the issue that my colleague from Massachusetts, Markey, Ed Markey, just raised, which is fentanyl. And one point I made to them was there is information that fentanyl is also leaking into their society. In other words, it's not just a question of stopping the laboratories in China where some evil scientist is creating poison that's coming into our communities. And by the way, the new push is directly fentanyl, 90% pure, being mailed to America, you know, to Des Moines and to Cincinnati and to Columbus, and it comes by the mail and people are ordering it over the web. And it is killing more people this year by far than it killed last year. So this is getting worse, not better, and Massachusetts has been hit hard, so is Ohio. But I really believe, from talking to experts around the country, this is the new wave. It's a synthetic form of heroin, as you know, but it is 30 to 50 times more powerful than heroin. And not only are there more overdoses, but there are more deaths as a percent of every overdose because it's so deadly. So they have a responsibility to work with us on this. We need to do more here, obviously, on the demand side, and we need to do more in terms of stopping it through the mail, which many members of this committee are on our legislation called the STOP Act. But I would like today to hear from you on this, just to assure us that you're going to press on this issue. You know, they have 170,000 chemical plants in China, and these are legitimate plants, I understand that, but they got a lot of pharmaceutical chemical plants that are illegitimate. And with their control over their economy, I believe they can do much more to be able to stop this poison from coming into our country. And again, as you said, with regard to intellectual property and as it relates to so many other issues, including Korea, they should have an interest in this. So could you just confirm to us today that you will press on this issue and specifically talk to them about not just shutting down some of these plants, which they have to do, but actually being sure they schedule more of these precursors so that they become illegal and that they do more to shut down the fentanyl production in China?
Senator, I want to do everything I can to work with you and Senator Markey and others that are very concerned about this issue. I think it's really a life and death issue. I also think, in addition to shutting down the plants, they need to punish the people that are doing this. And I want to press that because it is such an important thing to saving human lives and preventing this poison from, and as you say, it's a danger in their country as well. We know it's a very severe growing danger here, but it's something that has no place, and I want to do everything I can. I'll be looking for advice and counsel on what can be the most effective way, but I'm not bashful about bringing up tough issues in negotiations. You have had great experience in negotiating trade deals, and you know, I, at a much lower level, have worked on that for decades. But this is an issue that really comes to protecting human life, and it's something that we've got to take very seriously. And I intend to raise this as a top issue, along with the others that we've talked about here today.
Well, thanks for that commitment. By the way, most of it's coming from China, according to the experts, so this is obviously something that they can be much more responsible about. With regard to trade, there's so many issues, and let me just touch on one quickly. Back in 2000, Chinese production of steel was roughly the same as the United States, and that is 100 million tons a year. Since 2000, they have gone to 1.2 billion tons per year steel production. So a net importer of steel became the biggest exporter of steel in the world. And in that process, through this overcapacity that they've developed, they've been selling steel at below its cost in the United States of America. It's one of the reasons we have lost over 12,000 steel jobs here in this country during that time period, 12,000. And I raised it with them, of course, when I was over there. More importantly, I think we need to have an ambassador who understands this issue and will be sure that with regard to their dumping or their subsidization, which is also going on, that they understand that we're not going to put up with it anymore, that there's an absolute necessity to have trade that is level. And as you said, I have negotiated with them in the past on trade. You know, this is one of their responsibilities as a member of the WTO and a responsible, mature trading partner now, obviously. So any thoughts quickly on steel and the dumping of steel and your commitment to press on that issue?
Back in 1993, I helped attract a steel company to Iowa called IPSCO Steel from Canada.
IPSCO.
And they've been sold to SSAB. And I've been working with SSAB. I've been active among the governors on pressing for action on dealing with the dumping issue and the unfair competition in steel. So this is a critical issue, one that I'm familiar with because we've got a company, SSAB, in Montpelier, Iowa, between Davenport and Muscatine, that has been negatively affected by this. So I want to do everything I can to make sure that we stop the unfair and illegal activities that we've seen from China in the steel industry.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I